So back when the first lockdown first hit for me, I finally introduced myself to the Candyman franchise, especially because I knew there was a remake slash sequel or reboot, whatever you want to call it, that was meant to come out last year that's now coming out actually tomorrow, which I'm very excited for. I said, you know what, it's about time I actually get started and watch and make my way through the Candyman franchise. So I bought the first one on Blu-ray and I watched it, and I love the original movie. I think the original movie is one of those kind of forgotten about horror movies that I'm glad we actually are getting a sequel to, because I think, like, I didn't even know about it until the sequel's announced, but I think a lot of people would just completely forget about that movie because it's a trilogy from the 90s that does not get spoken about at all anymore. But I think the first Candyman movie is one of those horror movies that, as honestly, it is a disgusting movie, and I mean that in a good way, in the fact that all the horror elements in that movie I just find disgusting. The movie itself, it looks so dirty and horrible looking, and honestly, it is a horror movie that I actually really love. The second sequel I thought was a drop in quality. I didn't like it as much. I had moments I enjoyed, but overall I found that to be a bad movie. But it's been a year and I haven't watched part 3 yet, and today I sat down to watch part 3, and after watching part 3 I take back a lot of the bad stuff I said about part 2, because this movie is like 10-20 times worse than part 2. This movie is honestly a terrible movie. Not just a terrible horror movie, but a terrible movie itself. A lot of horror movies, the first ones are always great. Well, sometimes, most of the time. Look at Annabelle, the first one was bad. But sometimes you get a great first movie, and usually the sequels are a massive drop in quality. And Candyman 3 is a fantastic example of that, because Candyman 3 is a bad movie. Honestly, even from the start, you feel it's very low budget. It feels like it was straight to DVD. Now, I don't know, it could have been straight to DVD, but right from the start, it feels like a straight to DVD release movie. Tony Todd, who was obviously the standout of the first two movies, of course, he played Candyman. In this movie, he's in it. He's in it probably just a little less than he would have been in the first two, but he feels very disconnected from the movie. He feels like it's just kind of rinse repeat what he had done the first two movies. It feels like Tony Todd and Candyman haven't brought anything new to the table, and it's just what they've done before. They're just doing the exact same thing. It seems like nothing is new. The main female lead, who honestly, I don't even know her name. I literally finished the movie about 20 minutes ago and I have no idea what her name is, but she is honestly the worst part about this movie. It feels literally like they just got an attractive woman and said, here, just put her in this movie just to have the audience to really have something to look at. Found out she's also on Baywatch, which, okay, kind of made a bit of sense, because I kind of looked at her, I'm like, she looks like someone who'd be in Baywatch. Then I looked her up and I found out she actually was on Baywatch. But for the majority of this movie, she's just in a tank top and she's not really doing anything of note. She's not really doing anything impactful, anything interesting. I feel like they literally just put her there because she's attractive, just to have her on the screen. One thing they not only do with her character, but they do throughout the whole movie as a whole, is this movie is ridiculously sexualized. A lot of stuff is very, like, as I was watching it, I texted my friend actually a photo. I was texting him on Snapchat and I just used my iPad to show just right in my face. And it was a scene when the main character had a gag in her mouth, and he goes, what the fuck are you watching? Are you watching some kind of weird porn or something? And it was so graphic, and it wasn't even just that one scene. It was throughout the entirety of the movie. You have weird, very graphic sex scenes that look like they could be from a porn. They were weird, very kind of uncomfortable in some scenes because they were overly showing off these scenes. And honestly, I really wasn't a fan of that. They also tried to make the main girl the daughter of the woman from the second movie. At first I was thinking that, and then they revealed it, and it just felt a bit, oh yeah, quickly, let's just do that so we can have the two movies connecting, because it's just weird. Like, it's something, it's a little nitpick. I didn't really like that at all. As well, it's just, I can't believe that this movie made me actually prefer the second movie. I've got the first and the second movie on Blu-ray. I have no interest in picking up the third movie on Blu-ray. I don't think you can get the third movie on Blu-ray, but I have no interest in doing it because it is a terrible movie. Like, a positive I do have is that it still looks like the other two. Even though I said it does have a lower budget, it feels a lot cheaper. the atmosphere and the kind of the backgrounds, everything about it looks like a Candyman movie. You look at all the walls being graffitied, everything, it just looks very reminiscent of part 1 and part 2. But a lot of it does feel like a rip off of the second movie. A lot of it that kind of happened in the second movie, it feels like they kind of rinsed it and repeated it and put it back in this movie. So because of that, this movie feels very useless. Honestly, it feels very like, I feel like I didn't need to watch this movie. I feel like I kind of know going into the sequel, all I had to do is actually watch the first movie, so I probably didn't have to watch the second one. But at least with the second one, I got some good Tony Todd stuff. I got some enjoyment out of the second movie. Where in this movie, I really got nothing, and I was honestly bored from start to finish, and I actually thought it was an absolutely terrible, terrible movie. I remember when I put my review up for the second movie, and I said, "Oh, this is bad. I really didn't enjoy this," and then I got a comment saying, "Well, if you didn't like this, good luck for part 3." And honestly, whoever that was, it was a terrible, terrible movie, and I can't recommend this movie to anyone. Even if you walk out of the fourth movie now this week and go, "Oh my god, I'm gonna watch the other ones," skip part 3, because part 3 is honestly not worth the watch, and it's disappointing because I really, really loved the first movie. I'm actually hoping with the sequel, with the sequel coming out, hopefully we get some pop vinyls or some figures, because I would love to have the Candyman with the rest of my horror icons, because I think he's a fantastic horror icon, and I think this movie is just such a bad way, and it leaves a bad taste in your mouth, especially because we haven't got a Candyman movie. I think this was 98. I have no idea what year this came out, but it's been so long that's been leaving such a bad taste in people's mouths for over 20 years anyways, and I'm glad we are getting a sequel. I really hope it's good. Hopefully it's on the same quality as the first movie, if not better. But if you want to hear my thoughts on the new movie that should be dropping sometime this weekend, make sure to click the subscribe buttons and come back and see my review of Candyman, the new movie that's just called Candyman as far as I know. So if you want to hear my thoughts on that movie, you click the subscribe button. I'll leave a link right up here at the end of this video for Candyman 2 and Candyman. My review for both of those will be up here at the end of the video. And as always, thanks for watching.